right, we're going to try this. I tried to take some pictures of the problems in your book, and hopefully we can explain. I know you only have to do the even problems, but I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, you only have to do the even problems. I'm going to go ahead and do some of the odd ones so we can kind of get a pattern going. You can also do the odd ones and check in the back of the book if I don't do all of them. So these particular first questions ask you to find the domain and the range of the graph. So keep in mind the domain is your x values and the range is your y values. So here on number 1, our domain, let's see if I've got room to write it over here, will be from the x's go from negative infinity up to and including negative 1. So negative infinity with a parentheses. Infinity always gets a parentheses up to negative 1, and negative 1 will get a bracket because it can touch negative 1. And then I don't think I can keep on writing. Maybe I can. Then it'll start again at 1 and go to infinity with a bracket. That's the domain. The range of this graph are your y values. So in this particular graph, my y values, this is the y-axis, so the y values start at 0 and go up from there. So my range is going to be including 0, so it gets a bracket. If it was up to that point but not including it, it gets parentheses. But including 0 to infinity, and infinity always gets a parentheses. All right, number 2, which is a homework problem. Your domain, this particular graph goes from left to right. There's no holes in the graph. Like this was missing all of this between negative 1 and positive 1, which is why we had to have the union of two sets. But the domain is from left to right, so it's from negative infinity with a parentheses to positive infinity with a parentheses. The range are your y values, and so those are starting again very similar to this graph. The range is from 0, that's the lowest value on the y-axis that would have a point, to infinity with a parentheses. All right, let me scroll down a little bit. Number 3 is like half of a circle, so the domain is from negative 4, and I put a bracket because it touches negative 4, and it goes all the way to positive 4, and I'll put a bracket there. And the range on this graph is from the lowest y value is 0 and the highest one is 4. So the range is going from 0 to 4, and they both get brackets because it can be 0 and it can be 4. Number 4, my domain. Left to right, it's everything except for 1. So my domain is that this graph goes from negative infinity up to 1, and I put a parentheses because it's not touching 1, and then it starts again on the other side of 1, so from 1 to infinity, from negative infinity to 1, and then from 1 to infinity. And the range, this range is a little weird. All these, it goes between points, so it went from 0 to 4. But from here, it is only negative 1 and it's positive 1. It's not from negative 1 to positive 1. It's just those two distinct points. That's 1 through 4. Let's see how much time we got. Okay, we're doing good. All right, let's look at 5 through 8. Again, you only have to do the even ones. I'm going to go ahead and do some of the other ones. The number inside this set of parentheses, whenever it says f of something, f of negative 2 means when x is negative 2, what is my y? So if I look, when x is negative 2, it looks like it's a little off. Looks like this point right here. F of negative 2 looks like it would be 0. F of negative 1, if I had to guess where this point is, it looks like it's negative 1, negative 1. F of 1/2, that point looks to me to be about 1/2. Oh, don't move. 0, so f of 1/2 looks to me like it's 0. Then f of 1 looks like it's right there. That point looks to me like it's 1, negative 3. So f of 1 should be negative 3. All right, you had to do number 6. F of negative 1, somebody's already written in this book, looks like it would be 4. F of 2, 2 almost looks to me like it's 3. 2, 3. F of 0 looks to be 2. And then f of 1 is 0. This f of 2, some of you may have said 2, some of you may have said 3. It's kind of hard to tell there, but I think it's 3. All right, let's scroll down to number 7. F of negative 2 looks to me like negative 2. Whoa, negative 2. F of 1 appears to be 0. F of 0 looks like it's 1. And F of 2 looks like it's negative 2. Number 8. Had some questions on this. F of 2, that's not a problem. That's 0. When x is 2, y is 0. These are like inputs and outputs. These are functions. So when I put in a 2, what do I get out? And if I put in a 2, I get out a 0. If I put in a 1, you got to be careful here. You get out a 1. Some people asked me today about this point down here. It's not 1. It's close to 1, but it doesn't start until you're just past 1. At 1, you're here. And then just past 1, you pick up over in this graph. F of 3 looks to be 2, and F of negative 1 looks to be 3. All right, that's through 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 ask you to use a vertical line test to determine whether something's a function or not. And a vertical line test says that if a vertical line would cross the graph more than one time, then it's not a function. This looks like no matter where I draw a vertical line, it would only cross it once. So I'm going to say yes for number 9. Looks like in 10, no matter where I were to draw it, it'd be yes for number 10. But number 11, that's not a very straight vertical line. Let me get this. If I draw a vertical line, it hits it twice, right? Let me go back to a pen. It hits it here and here. So that is not a function. Same thing for 12. If I were to draw a vertical line here or here or here, wherever, it hits the circle in 2 places. So the circle is also not a function. Let's scroll down to 13. What do we think about 13? 13 is, I know it almost looks like it would hit it twice, but this is getting closer and closer and closer to this y-axis. So 13 is a yes, and 14 is a no. All right, so we're going to pause this right here. That gets us through problem number 14 on your homework, and I will pick up with finding the zeros on our next video.